pre-spring playoffs. So it's not the spring playoffs. It's right before then. Now, a couple of things to talk about. This is the second best of three of the day. I think it's actually HWA and Wildfire were supposed to play earlier, but unfortunately, a little bit of disqualification there. So we're just moving on to the second best of three. It's RGESC. It's not their main roster. It's RGESC BAB versus Bad Dunphy, and I will be solo casting this, so cut me some slack if there's a little bit of pauses here and there. But I still want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we got this game back underway. So I'm probably just going to call BAB RGESC, just because it's a little bit more of a well-known name. And then if you look at BD, that's Bad Dunphy. Let's talk about the players here as we get through picks and bans. There's a Shyvana and Elise banned out. I'm guessing that there was one of those for each team, but somehow I'm not sure if they missed a ban, or I actually only see Shyvana and Elise and Kha'Zix banned out. So well, it's a chance to see what the third ban is, rather, for Bad Dunphy, and see what they have to offer. Because I guess for me, I'm not saying anything too special. The option to ban out Kale. All right, there's something a little bit unique. Don't really see all that many Kale bans. You're gonna be seeing a lot more Kale bans. I'll put it that way. I actually just got done casting a Japanese tournament a few hours ago, right before this tournament started, and it was literally Kale mid every single game. I kid you not. There were 6 games, and every single one of them had a Kale mid. So, you know, it's maybe a little bit regional, but you can see the Wukong banned out. That's, I don't know, another little bit of an interesting ban, probably against jungle Wukong, or maybe mid, but it's a stretch because you don't actually see all that many Wukongs, at least not in the North American meta, which is what I am a little bit more familiar with than how things go in Turkey. So we're back into picks, done with the banning phase, and there's actually a lot left out on the table. Let's see, you can go with Yasuo, you can go with Kassadin. That's probably the biggest thing to talk about, is there's no Kassadin ban, unless that is the one ban that I missed that I cannot see. So it'll be interesting to see what they do decide to go for. They're hovering over Urgot, probably not. Urgot needs to be renamed like Not, because he's, yeah, no, you just don't pick that champion anymore. Doesn't really have a place. Sure, he has a really good laning phase, but then he just kind of dies over and over again, and I'm not sure what you're supposed to do in team fights. The idea that you're switching an AD carry into the middle of an enemy team comp is kind of like the idea of Quinn having a melee ranged, or a melee form for a ranged AD carry. So I mean, you can think about that a couple of different ways, but it's a Thresh pickup first for Bad Dunphy. RGESC, BAB is, I guess, gonna go for the more engage heavy comp. They picked both of their tanks first. Top and jungle, excuse me, are both gonna be there. Now, Evelyn, you know, I wouldn't expect her to be picked just because, XZ knows that there's been some pretty big Evelyn nerfs, most recently to, I think it was her hate spike, where I think they took the speed of the missile for hate spike and slowed it by like half. So it's really easy to run away from. If you guys haven't had a chance to play against an Evelyn or to play Evelyn, you know that things pretty much have to stand still, because if you're running side to side, hate spike just doesn't deal damage anymore. And with the AD ratio on Ravage, it's like, I'm not sure what you're supposed to look to for damage, but it's not going to be an Evelyn. There's going to be a Vi there as Bad Dunphy lock it in Auspexa. XD, and I believe the players are actually in their correct roles for this tournament. So it's top jungle mid 80 carry support. We do have the bottom lane, the duo locked in there for Bad Dunphy. Apparently, some people getting the wrong message. Like, is it BD? Is it BDNP? Either way, I'm just gonna go with Bad Dunphy, and I'll probably just say that as the game progresses. They got their duo lane, and now we're looking for what to expect from the bottom lane for RGESC. You know, they've got Sivir hovered over right now. I wouldn't be. I mean, Sivir's not a bad idea. The great thing about Sivir versus a Vi is that you can pop your spell shield and totally avoid her ultimate. She'll still get to you, but you're just not going to get knocked up. And I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good thing to, or pretty good reason to pick Sivir, because the jungler's job more often than not is to jump right onto the AD carry, and it also allows you to spell shield things like thresh hooks, flays, boxes, a lot of cool stuff like that. So going to the Sivir, I really like that choice. What are you going to get for support? If it's a Morgana support, that's really cool. But if it's not, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit confused. What are you going to run as support? I don't think you pick Morgana because she's a safe pick mid. I think there are a lot of ways around Morgana now. Used to be Morgana was just the safe pick. You've got Black Shield, you've got Wave Clear, and that's basically all you need as an AP carry. But there are a few AP carries out there that actually work really well against Morgana. One of them being, let's see, it's anything that can shove faster. So even like a LeBlanc with Distortion Max, that'd do really well. Ari to some extent as well. You're really mobile, so it makes LeBlanc difficult, or it makes it difficult for Morgana to land any of her CC abilities. So I mean, you could go for either one of those. There's always the safe and standard Gragas, and yeah, there we go. Lazonos hovering over Gragas, and probably will just lock that in. But with a Warwick out there, that's locked in, man. There is nobody gonna change away from that. Therapist going to, I'm just going to assume that there's supposed to be an H there, and that it actually is therapist. With a Warwick pick. Okay, so I don't know if Darian is out there watching, if he's given therapist his blessing to play Warwick in this game or not, but I mean, it could work. I've seen a lot of good Warwicks and a lot of bad Warwicks, so it'll be interesting to see how he decides to deal with this, because there's still one last pick, and the last pick is either the support or mid, depending on where RGESC BAB decide to throw this one. If they look for a mid pick, that's support Morgana, and that's actually really interesting, because not only do you not really see all that much support Morgana, you don't really see all that much Morgana. Apologies, I had to sneeze there for a second. So, support Morgana is what I was going to say before I was so rudely interrupted. But that's gonna be it. It's a Z lock in, and that means that, yeah, it's gonna be support Morgana. So you've got Spell Shield and Black Shield, all the shields, but none of them actually giving you any extra health. And so to give you extra health, well, there's the Barrier Shield. Unless we see a Locket of the Iron Solari from the support Morgana, which is entirely possible, that's gonna be about all the shields for that bottom lane. But hey, 3 is a good number. Going up against Laz Hornos and Therapist, and they've only got 1 shield in lane. I guess you can count 2 because of the Dark Passageway shield. So even 3 if you count it going on both of them. So yeah, I don't know. Either way, I love the idea to go for a Black Shield versus a Jinx. Black Shield versus Jinx pretty much just owns her. She can't zap you, she can't hit you with flame chompers, and you're not going to be able to get hit by a whole lot of thresh aggro either. I believe the Black Shield actually blocks the damage from the empowered flay auto attack, because it is magic damage. So just something to think about. That's going to be it for our champion picks and bans. With no delay, we're going to get this game underway. Thank you guys for watching the League of Legends pre-spring playoffs here on KSTV. Don't go anywhere. Be right back after we load into the game. Alright, welcome everybody back to the stream. I am Reed Rapid Melton. We're here on Chaos TV for this pre-spring playoffs that Riot Turkey is putting on. So if you guys are a little bit new to the Turkish scene, well, I don't blame you. I'm a little bit new too, so we're going to be kind of learning here together. This is a couple teams, and both of them actually, I don't know, I really like getting to know new teams, but for me actually RGESC isn't quite as new as everyone else, or as all the other teams are. I've actually seen guys like HWA play before, but I guess to start things off, probably do a little bit of an introduction. RGESC, the team that's whose tag is BAB, actually stands for Revolt Gentlemen, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just kind of cool, and they're gonna have Revanth up in the top lane, Icarus AOZ in the jungle, Flows or D Flows. I'm just gonna call him Flows. You guys can get the D later, but there's Flows there in the middle lane. Dugaki and Euphony down there in the bottom lane as a duo. Now, something interesting to talk about is the support Morgana there from Euphony. I've seen it before. There's a couple of players in North America that play a ton of support Morgana. So, I mean, it's cool and everything. It's just kind of interesting to see come out right now. And I think it's a great time to bring it out because you can see just in that dual lane matchup, Lazonos versus, and Therapist, they've got so much CC and lockdown. One Black Shield. It's gonna be a world of help. And even like maybe maxing the Black Shield. I mean, usually you want to max the, what is it? The Dark Binding, just because it does scale up, the duration of it scales up the more points you put into it. So that's really good to have, but at the same time giving it a lot of just magic damage protection and make yourself pretty immune. Dodging away there from that hook, does get hit by the zap, so that would be a nice place to see a Black Shield. But if you want to check out Morgana, you can see that she actually has 1 point in Black Shield and then 1 point in Dark Biting. So that's pretty much the skills that you should expect to see maxed. Don't really look for a lot of tormented soil damage because, I mean, there's only so much soil you can torment down there, especially when you don't have a ton of ability power. Mid lane matchup, probably something to talk about. I actually didn't introduce Bad Dunpy, the blue team, their opponents. It's going to be Lemsar there in the mid lane. Now, I actually like the Gragas pick that Lemsar has here against Flows because it should give him a lot of early sustain and then counter-engage potential. You can either knock Zed away from you or try to knock him into turret after he's used that Living Shadows. But you have to be careful with where you throw those explosive casts out just because it's really easy to dodge if Zed sees it coming. So, top lane matchup is probably the next thing to talk about. It's going to be Derry XS versus Revenge. Now, the Warwick versus Renekton matchup. Warwick actually is pretty bad early on. He's got a mana pool that allows him to cast his Q like 3 times before he's out of mana. So that's a somewhat limiting factor, but he's got so much sustain in that top lane. It's a little bit ridiculous. So once he gets on towards that level 6, level 9, that's the really big power points. Bottom lane Aspexa is there. There's the Lantern actually coming out, looking for an engage, but you can't do anything against the Black Shield. The Flay auto attack is actually really cool. I thought that it was going to be a benefit from, you know, the Black Shield blocking that Flay damage, but it's actually not because Thresh can auto attack, use that Flay damage to break the Black Shield if it doesn't do enough, and oh, the perfect Flay backwards, but it's right into a Dark Binding. It's first blood for Thresh as he kills Ziffer for being a little bit too close. All Dugaki had to do is walk right back to turret, but instead he got a little bit too close, and there's the empowered Flay auto attack like I was talking earlier on. Able to pick up first blood, but hey, it's a 1-for-1 trade, so it's not the worst of all worlds. We've seen first kills go down there in that bottom lane. It was a nice counter gank, but at the same time, I feel like if Sivir just played it back, played it a little bit more carefully, it would have been a little bit it would have been pretty easy to stay alive. All that to say that, yeah, they're not in a bad place for RGESC BAB, just because, I mean, it's the first kill of the game, and it didn't really miss all that much off of it. The bigger deal is a little bit of a CS differential down there in the bottom lane in favor of bad Dunpy, but then you see the exact opposite story there in the mid lane, as Gragas is falling a little bit behind on CS. Same story top lane as Warwick, having a little bit of a rough job there, but now with Morgana walking forward, you're gonna have to be careful about how they keep playing these engagements. You don't want to miss too much CS, especially those big cannon minions that are in the lane. Always nice to get those things out there, and there we go. I think actually Dugaki didn't miss that one, so that's a little bit rough to watch, but a little bit of damage traded right back towards Therapist, and you can see just harassed there from Euthany at the same time. Deathmark, though, in the mid lane, there's the explosive cast to try to knock Flows away, and now that the Living Shadow comes out behind Zed for the death mark, he can't use it to get right back on his opponent. So Flows is actually going to be having a rough time there in the mid lane, as Chemstar going to body slam in there, needs one more barrel to pick up the kill, but no. Flows going to try to dodge that one out under turret, staying alive for now, and yeah, just gonna, oh, there's the barrel, it doesn't kill. Flows used his health potion a little bit earlier to stay alive in lane, and now Krog is actually going to stop him from backing deep beneath those turrets. It'll be something that we see Icarus AOZ maybe try to come in on. Doesn't want to go for it. Not level 6. We're just going to go... I guess he wants to keep that blue buff up, so he throws a ward at it. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily ward the buff. I'd just go ahead and take it, because it's probably going to go over to Jarvan anyway, just because Zed's more of an energy user. So when you can give energy users blue buff, it's just not quite as effective as, you know, bad mana. A lot of mana potions, speaking of that, being picked up there. Interesting to see Lemzar actually grab a mana potion along with his Chalice and double Doran's ring. Chalice, double Doran's, I don't know why you go Chalice. Theoretically, you're supposed to go double Doran's into Tear of the Goddess and then build a Seeker's Arm Guard afterwards in the Gragas versus Zed matchup. So you get the Tear for the mana regen, and then you get the Seeker's Arm Guard into Zonya's to help counter out the Deathmark damage, and that's pretty much the dominant way to play Gragas versus a Zed. But you do miss out on the Athene's Unholy Grail, and that is the big core item for for Gragas. So definitely something to think about. We'll have to see how it pays off, because you don't really build magic resistance against Zed. That's a pretty ballsy statement to make. So we'll have to see how Lemsar handles this, not having any of that armor stat. I haven't really talked about top lane all that much at all, just because I just want you guys to, the next time we take a trip up to top lane, just watch what happens. They're going to be auto-attacking each other, and then they auto-attack each other some more. Warwick loses the auto-attack trades, and then just kills creeps until he's back up to full HP. He is down on mana, though, so he's going to need to find some way to either get that mana back or make his way out of play and back to base. And with as much as Renekton's been pushing, that's exactly the correct way to play the lane. There's the middle lane as the attempt at getting away from that. Oh, flash! There's the ultimate as well. Euphany, but Bugaki's just got to auto-attack him under turret. Flashes away as well. A lot of flashes blown. But Tempest just not there in time to punish. Vi is going to be coming in onto the side, and there is on the hunt. A perfect dark binding. And Euphany actually walks up and throws down the black shield as well. So Icarus AOZ trading things out with Lemsar. Probably doesn't want to do that just yet. Lemsar is actually pretty strong, but even still, we've got kills in the mid lane, kills in the bottom lane, going over to opposite teams, so you can still see the score staying even at 2-2. So as far as action across the map, it's been interesting to see it somewhat mirrored in that we have the same number of kills, but they are going in a little bit of a different place. You can see just assists on the AD carry and support for Bad Dunphy, but for RGESC BAB, they have kills in those spots as instead, whereas support and AP carry for Bad Dunphy grabbing those kills away. Warwick having a little bit of a rough time underneath his turret. Under his turret is where you want to put Warwick. He has horrible wave clear until he does get that Sunfire Cave, so he's gonna be really easy to bully around. RGSC going for this first dragon of the game, and that is the first big difference that we've seen between both of these teams, but it's only about a 500 gold difference. Dark Binding lands in the bottom lane, sets up Sivir for a really nice and easy combo there onto Thresh, but with 57 armor in lane, that actually goes a long way to blocking out a lot of this damage. But minions, a little bit less armor, so it's nice to see Dugaki at least able to clear out those waves, even if she can't get a whole lot of damage down on the champions. Now, Specs is going to throw down a ward, and immediately the ward will scout out a pink ward, so Icarus AOZ probably be there to defend the pink ward and keep it alive, as Vi did just kill one at Dragon. So a lot of nice ward coverage there around that Dragon objective, and you can just see RGESC definitely the favorite to win this game, really experienced and keeping up ward coverage, setting it up, and able to take down the first global objective of the game. Warwick did find his way back to base. You can see he comes into lane not with a Spirit Song. Actually, this is a play in. Oh, perfect wombo combo dunk there right onto Dugaki. Probably should have spell shielded the Vial instead of the Thresh box wall as he walked through it. So, I mean, maybe a little bit of a rough thing because it's hard to time that spell shield right in between so many things hitting you so suddenly all at the same time. So it's a little bit difficult to dodge out there. A kill nonetheless there on a Dugaki. Euphony did use that black shield, but it just didn't last all that long at all. Now Euphony is going to be walking over there. Does land the Dark Binding. There's the knockup on the Honos. And yeah, one more auto attack's all it's going to take, but actually winds up trading it 1-for-1. That's actually pretty impressive. I did not think Jinx had the damage to just blow Jarvan up like that. Doesn't have a whole lot of armor. That Doran's Blade instead for some extra damage, and I don't know, maybe wanted a little bit more armor there in that situation. So if you want to talk about how the game is unfolding so far, you got Renekton just being a lane bully, doesn't really care too much about Warwick's damage, just going to go straight for that turret objective. He's just auto-attacking it away, and you can see, yeah, Renekton just not really having too bad a time. He is causing Warwick to miss a few auto-attacks, miss a few last hits, and you can see that reflected in the CS counts. About a 30 CS advantage there for Renekton. So Revanche definitely winning out his lane, even if there's nothing he can do about Warwick. Hero minion right there, auto-attacking Thresh as he takes down the ward in the brush, so not sure exactly why he's standing there. Yeah, the minion will finally die, so nice ward coverage control there of that bottom lane. And something interesting to point out, the pink ward right around the corner around that blue buff for RGESC actually was able to stay up there. Bottom lane though, see a little bit of extra pressure as Icarus AOZ, man, he's right there. Can't just walk down that river. Therapist rather will go ahead and drop a ward right around the corner, and so it's just going to be a lane gank set up there for AOZ. I don't know if I should call him AOZ or Icarus AOZ, but I'll have to figure that out here in a second. So good. Couple things to talk about. Bottom lane's where all the pressure's at, and with a pink ward at Tri-Brush, it sets up very well for Vi to come down for a lane gank of her own. You know, Icarus AOZ is just up there doing the white. I feel like, you know, it's a good option to kill jungle creeps, but probably a few things to do as far as like the bottom half of the map is concerned, waiting for a gank. You guys can't see it, but in chat, Revanche and Derry just typed giant smiley faces at each other. Bottom lane, though, there's the last auto attack to kill off Sivir. The Dug's down onto Icarus. AOZ does get a black shield, so there's no CC to come his way, but damage is going to be the best CC of all. Taking him out there. Now, oh, poor Morgana, trapped underneath her turret. There's going to be a dark binding, but not in turret range. Man, that's close to turret, but perfect little niche in there for Therapist to make sure he gets out alive. Allows Honos there as well, and a perfect dive once again, taking out Dugaki even through all of this protection. Dark Binding will land onto a minion there, as Euphony really doesn't have enough wave clear without any ability power to keep that turret alive. First turret of the game. Actually going over to Bad Dunphy, or I guess what's so interesting about that is that I actually expected the top turret to go down, and yeah, you can see Revanche is going to go in there. Flows the mid lane, just trying to kill off that minion wave before his turret goes down, and well, it could be the second turret for Bad Dunphy in that mid lane as Jarvan is forced to come clear the wave. Top lane, basically the only lane that's really doing very, very well for RGESC is Renekton has been crushing Warwick down there in the CS department. He's now up almost 40 CS, so really good way to win your lane versus the Warwick. You can't really fight him, you just have to win your lane in other ways. But now Darius actually starting to get a little bit too tanky to deal with, and maybe putting out a little bit of too much damage, because keep in mind his Eternal Thirst passive that gives him so much lifesteal, or health gain rather, because it's actually lifesteal on hit, is it gets stronger with levels. So the more you auto attack later on, the stronger that's going to make you. But Renekton actually able to chunk through that pretty effectively. Both top laners just building straight up tank items. No like Wit's End or Blade of the Ruined King for Warwick. As you can see, he's not really all that concerned about taking damage. He gets 225 health back off of using that Eternal Thirst, or off of using Hungry Strike. But Hungry Strike actually does take off a 7th of the mana pool. There's going to be dunked down right on top. Icarus going to go ahead and destroy that duo lane with a little bit of help from Flows. Is going to get in there. There is actually Deathmark going down as well. Ospexa not really where he wants to be. And it's a triple kill for Dugaki, getting revenge for being dove over and over again in that bottom lane. Revanche came in as well, and so Warwick's just going to be up there in the top lane killing some minions. It's Renekton that helps the rest of RGESC take down the middle turret. Dragon number 2 gonna go to RGESC, and even before the turret even takes damage, you can see Revanche is right back up there to keep it alive and full health. So that's actually really impressive to me, to see a Renekton that knows to roam mid lane for a team fight and then not go to Dragon with the rest of his team, walk back to top lane and keep his turret up, keep his lane advantage alive. That's Dragons in a row. Okay. A little bit still for me, so it might be a little bit of server lag happening, so not sure if that is consistent with the stream, but now we're attempting to reconnect. So I'm obviously going to attribute that to the servers for a second. So if I am all of a sudden unable to tell you guys what's happening with the game, well, you know what's going on, so no worries there. Lemsar able to take down his own blue buff. He's a big Gragas now. He can take care of himself, and we'll go ahead and take that down. Coming back into lane, blue buffs, one reason that mana users still work in the mid lane, because it's an active reward for running mana as a resource. Everywhere else in the game, no resource is always better, but when you use mana and you have a blue buff, it's a big advantage over whoever you're laning against if they don't. No Sunfire complete for Warwick. That's actually kind of interesting to me, because Warwick does need the mana pool to be able to keep casting spells up there in the top lane, but without a Sunfire cape, he just can't trade against Revanche. You can see him losing so much hit points, or so many hit points, just by walking away. So I don't know if not going for that Sunfire cape is necessarily the best build choice, because now neither one of these top laners can actually leave lane. That's what I thought until Renekton roamed mid for a team fight and came back in time, but that's because Warwick doesn't have a Sunfire cape. It can't push the wave to punish Renekton for roaming. Looking to get this final push in there for to take down that top turret. Zed coming up right behind. We're gonna see if Flows is what this takes. There's Revanche just going in for that under turret kill. There's a death mark right on top of Derry. You can see Revanche actually doesn't take damage. The unfortunate case is that Derry actually does, and now together with that Jarvan, perfect team fight, or perfect team play there by RGESC, just saying, hey, this is the lane we need to take down. Have the man to do it with. Behind that turret's where we're looking is now Lemsar. Body slams away, but it's going to be the flash out actually from Flows, huh? Didn't exactly think he needed that one, but Revanche actually pretty low, so have to keep him careful there. Spexa coming in there is running an attack damage by. It's pretty tanky, but now just going to get locked up, knocked up. Flows very lows, and now Revanche low as well. Icarus pretty low too, and so that's a pretty good time to back on out. Derry didn't use that his infinite duress to help stay alive underneath that turret, and that's actually kind of surprising to me because that's one of the big reasons you run Warwick is for the suppression. The idea that you can just lock down one player, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it without a Quicksilver Sash. So as far as the game is concerned right now, a little bit of a kill advantage, but it's the two dragons that are really giving RGESC a big advantage. So definitely something to think about. The only problem is that Bad Dunpy are actually winning a couple of different lanes that are very, very important. They've got an advantage mid, or they did until Zed got that roam off. And the advantage bottom lane as well. Less deaths, or I guess the same amount of deaths, but more minion kills, about 30. In the advantage down there. Now looking for a little bit more as they will push the lane out by themselves. And I like the idea that both AD carries are going for the same build, but it doesn't really differentiate them too much just yet. Blade of the Ruined King and that Brutalizer both completed, but now, Spexa gonna try to get on there. Misses the Vault Breaker onto Revanche, and now knowing that Zed's right behind, there's gonna be Gragas there as well. Gonna throw out the explosive cast. Vi's gonna, the not perfect dodge there as Spexa gets in there. Flows will die as Derry takes him out, but there's the knockup. There's the flash out there. Icarus AOZ will not be able to get out of here alive. Darius just gonna run after him. There's the flash in, and now Revanche didn't actually wind up picking up any kills. Fails the slice over the wall. Oh my goodness, this could mean a dead Renekton. You know, there's a lot of ways to get over the wall there for Bad Dunpy, so he might have still died. There's the play backwards. And with the box actually used as well as the ignite, man, that's actually, that's the compliment to Renekton, man. They blew a lot just to take him down there. There's the body slam and barrel roll to pick the kill. Euthany's gonna find Spexa doing the Wraith Camp and sets up for a lot of additional damage, but there's actually on the hunt use. Yugaki's gonna, perfect Thresh Lantern, that dark passageway. Helping get Spexa XZ out alive. Actually, kind of ironic, one of the best teams in Turkey is named Dark Passage. I always thought that was kind of cool that they named their team after a Thresh ability. I'm not sure actually which came first. I think it was the Thresh ability, but either way, nice little reference, because this is the League of Legends pre-spring. Not all that much actually happening around the map, just because, I mean, it's 9-9, so evening it up is a good thing for Bad Dunphy. The only problem is that they're still down 2 turrets, and they have to get those from somewhere. Warwick has a ton of sustain. Flows is going to lose this horribly because you can't fight Warwick right now. It's what Warwicks do. We're gonna see a Dragon Steel attempted to go down. No, Jarvan actually does get it. Can you click the lantern in time? Answer is no. Euphany actually will finally pick up that kill onto Vi. Vi has a black cleaver right now, so that is a ton of extra damage. Flash out there from Lazonos, able to get away thanks to that Talisman of Ascension. Play backwards though onto Revanche, gonna take some trade damage right back. An auto attack and barrel going to land. Flows split pushing top lane is a bad idea right now. All the items that were not complete, that were the big problem, is the reason that Warwick is not going to have a good time now. And with the rest of the enemy team coming top lane, it's going to be a rough idea there for Derry. He's going to be having to get away if he can. Icarus there, going to get the knockup. Then there's the Dark Binding as well. Will that be enough to take down Warwick? Answer, unfortunately, is no, because he's just going to go right back in onto Euphony. Turns this right back around. Explosive cast, not able to knock Jarvan back in. But that's just 2 free kills. And there's Super Mega Death Rocket going to land. Won't be able to pick up a kill. Derry XS, like Darius, but Derry XS instead. He's going to use that Bloodthirst passive to see Icarus wherever he is, so knows exactly what to expect. A flash away from the play, and now Specs on the other side of the wall sets us up for a nice steal attempt if that's what they want to go for. Icarus AOZ is going to go down. There's the dunk, but Dugaki is kind of there by himself, not really having a whole lot to do. Can he trade this back? Doesn't have a whole lot of mana. Where's the spell shield already used? There it is, but it doesn't actually block anything. Dark Binding won't block anything either. And now, oh, Euphony, poor Euphony, has a black shield to stop any CC, but gonna have to be careful. Back in very early part of Season 3, we talked about the League of Black Cleavers. And it looks like it may be actually coming back, as we see Black Cleavers on both junglers, as well as on Zed, of course, in the mid lane. Double Last Whispers as well. So you can see that both teams really prioritize that armor. Something interesting to talk about as far as armor is concerned is that you actually have a Glacial Shroud on Thresh. What you'd expect, because Thresh actually does get armor passively by picking up souls, so that's a great place to get armor from. And usually you see games with absolutely no Frozen Hearts, because Frozen Heart is really difficult to put on to champions because it doesn't really fit with a whole lot of kits out there. Works really well for Warwick, and it actually works really well for guys like Tarek too, but you just don't see too many of them. And now here we got two Frozen Hearts in one game. Now granted, Thresh could go for something like a Frozen Fist or a Glacial Gauntlet. I think the technical name is Iceborne Gauntlets, but hey, you get the idea. It's a good item to pick up. Over for Renekton, you know, he's got to deal with the attack speed slow from Frozen Heart, a ton of armor as well. Now a Blade of the Great King about to come out from Derry. He's finally going to go for an offensive item, and I love this choice. He's starting to snowball. He's 4-1-3. And maybe just needs a little bit of extra damage because it's not magic damage that he has to worry about, and that is the vulnerability of running an all AD team composition against this sort of league of super tanks that does so well against it. Warwick kind of in a league of his own as far as just survivability, tank stats. It's all really good for him. Knock up there on a Lemsar. He's down to half hit points, and we'll be able to regen a little bit of that up thanks to his Happy Hour passive, which does give him about 40 health every time he casts the spell. So that's actually pretty cool. Vi's gonna get in there, won't land a knockup, but there's actually on the hunt, used to retreat. Thresh is still in there, does have that Talisman of Ascension, but with no zap to land, not a whole lot of ways to catch out RGESC. In the meantime, talking about fighting champions, not really going to work out too well for RGESC, but they're just all about fighting these objectives. You can see Zed all the way down in the bottom lane. He's going to tank up that bottom turret. Probably shouldn't. Will use that Living Shadow to drop aggro, but oh, he gets just low enough to give Diary enough move speed. You're just seeing just a couple more auto attacks. He's just looking for damage on that turret. Gets locked up, and one more auto attack is all it's going to take for the Diary. Able to take out Zed just in the nick of time. The retreat there, not going to be, I guess, incredibly effective because Icarus did die, and without that smite, looks like the rest of bad Dunpy just start up on the Baron. It's gonna be up to Dugaki, Revanche, and Euphony to try to stop this Baron from going down. Flash in there from Euphony does get that lockdown onto Therapist. He will probably die, but at what cost? It's going to be Dugaki very, very low. It's body slam into the wall. Will get taken out, but the mission is accomplished. They did lose Sivir, but they stopped that Baron from being done, and that's about all you could ask for. Zed right now is not very tanky, and probably the only guy that's not very tanky either. And I like the prioritization of the Black Cleavers and Last Whispers and cool stuff like that. I even just like the choice of Jarvan, because keep in mind his Dragon Strike will lower the armor of all enemies hit by 26%. So you've got the percent armor penetration, so he doesn't have to buy a Last Whisper. He's got the just straight up armor pen from a Black Cleaver. Now, Black Cleaver stacks don't actually stack on top of one another, but if you're getting hit by 2 Black Cleavers, it stacks up the passive a little bit faster. So, I actually forget what the passive name from Black Cleaver is called, but there's actually something pretty cool. Spectre is going to look to get over the wall. Once again, 0 for 2 as far as steals are concerned. Down, Euphony going to throw down a Soul Shackles, will hit 3 people. Only hits the chain break onto 2 of them, continuing to lock up Aspexa, but you can see Aspexa not really where he wants to be. The Lantern trying to pull Gragas back in. I don't think that's necessarily the way it works. Huge super mega death rocket. Lemsar going to get in there for the kill onto Zed. This fight is not going to go well for RGESC. You can see Revenge going to get locked down there. A couple more auto attacks to take him out, and there it goes. Aspexa taking him down. Will we see Dugaki go down? Blocks the zap, but still gets hit by the red buff. Can we see him get taken out? Flash away. Tempest almost, or Aspexa rather, almost dies there under turret, but 3 for 0 exchange and a great engage. Now Morgana kind of running for her life against the Warwick, who should know better than to chase. Middle lane, Lazonos and Tempest will just take down that secondary mid turret. Still behind in turrets though after a great push in the top lane and bottom. And speaking of top lane, there's a ton of minions up there trying to kill that turret, but will meet a minion wave of their own and shouldn't actually do all that much. Therapist gonna head back to base. You can see double frozen hearts. You may notice this, so spoiler alert, there's nothing but attack damage on RGESC, but even still we have 3 frozen hearts in this game, man. Turkish meta is a little bit weird to me because I don't see it all that often, but 3 frozen hearts, I don't think I've ever seen any game with 3 frozen hearts before, so this is a little bit of a first for me. Hopefully it works out, just because there's not going to be a whole lot of auto attacking going on, or at least if there is, it's going to be 20% slower, thanks to that Frosty passive there from all the frozen hearts everywhere. Zed's going back to split pushing, and this is something that RGSC have been doing such a good job of all game long. Warwick's going to be sent down there to counter that split push, and Zed probably does not have the tankiness. Getting that Negatron cloak can be great against Warwick, who does deal primarily magic damage, but calling that Warwick down to the bottom lane, he's running Flash Ignite, so no teleport. And RGSC are just dealing with this Warwick so well. They're forcing him to split push. Now, there's the box coming down there. Deathmark, though, does go right on to Lazonos. The fight's already in, but a nice explosive cast trying to stop it from being too bad of an issue. Flows will dive first. Double chains will land there from the Soul Shackles there on Euphony, but here comes Darius all the way on to Dugaki. He's just DPSing the support though, so I feel like, or the AD carry, so I feel like there probably might have been better places to go, but it's just all about Las Honos. 3 kills picked up there. The Zap actually does land, but hey, there's a Black Shield, so not going to be able to pick anything up off the back of that. 4 for 2. A team fight started by RGESC, but team fight won at the end by Bad Dunpy. So you let Warwick tank up this turret. Warwick currently has about 271 armor, so nothing too surprising about that. Just the odd 300 armor. Warwick does dodge dodge away from that dark binding. Wouldn't have mattered anyways, the turret did fall, and now the first inhibitor of the game going to Bad Dunphy. Mid lane, the counter push coming out. You know, it's... okay, look at Sivir right now. Jugaki's got some problems because he's like, okay, I've got barrier for one shield. I've got a Banshee's Veil for another shield. I've got Spell Shield and then Black Shield. So, how many shields do you have to put on Jugaki to keep him alive? I think the answer is always going to be one more because it's just not working out so far. You can put all of those on a Jugaki, and with as strong as Bad Dunphy is right now, they're always going to be able to get through them. There's going to be an attempt to steal on a Baron. Icarus has been very, very good about trying to steal those revives. Going to go in there and start the team fight. Icarus goes over the wall there, looks for the dunk down onto everybody. Can't find a good place to put it. There's the back, logging up 3 members of Bad Dunphy. Look at all that damage just piling on into the pit. Jugaki's actually able to stay alive there, but can he kite back in time? Lemstar just walks on him, and that is going to be an overwhelming team fight victory for Bad Dunphy. Zed's trying to escape, but he can't quite find his way away here in time. I think it's just going to be Thresh who tries to come kill him, but Thresh is going to have to be careful because look at all that lifesteal from Flows. The Blade of the Ruined King really helping him out there. Can't really do all that much now. He actually could hunt down Thresh. He's going to go inside the base. That bottom turret is healed back up. He's going to try to stop minions from pushing, but there's super minions that's just going to kill him. So, not sure what to expect. The minions find him behind that tree. Do take him over the wall. There's the play passive, and oh, Flows gets 1v1 by Tempest. Holy cow. That's a little bit rough. And with the rest of the team in the base, Bad Dunphy will take out BAB, or RGESC more importantly.